Hi everyone. So after a few false starts there with our audio not quite working properly, hopefully you can hear the game all right. Do let me know in the comments if anything is too loud. I'm just going to turn my microphone down a little bit and make a couple of little tweaks, I think, because it's coming through a little bit loud, I think. Hang on one moment. Hi everyone. So after a few false starts there with our audio not quite working properly, hopefully you can hear the game all right. Do let me know in the comments if anything is too loud. I'm just going to turn my microphone down a little bit and make a couple of little tweaks, I think, because it's coming through a little bit loud, I think. Hang on one moment. Right, there we go. That should be a bit better. Let me just quickly make a tweak to my in-game audio as well. So it's coming through my headphones with a little bit too much bluster. Turn that down a little tiny bit. Hopefully that won't impact things too much. Ooh, hello. Let's have you then. Get the C4 on. Pop it. Ooh, got me. So, mostly this week we've been reviewing the HTC One, and honestly, I think I've looked at pretty much every aspect of that phone, bar a couple of things now. And today, Sunday, thought I would spend a bit of time just playing some Titanfall instead. Just relax and chill out. It's been a crazy old week. Now do let me know in the comments if you have any questions, if there's anything you'd like to talk to me about, for instance. Any particular technology you're interested in or anything like that, just let me know in the comments. Just mostly buzzing around on Titanfall for an hour or so this morning. This is obviously being played on PC. I say obviously because, you know, there's a decent frame rate here. Hang on. Oh, he's on my side. Pity. Oh. Let's get some Titan action going on. I don't like it when they run away from me, you know. Have I pressed there? Keep forgetting I've got fixed zoom on. So you can just tap the mouse, zoom in, makes life a bit easier, saves your fingers from too much right mouse button clicking. Ooh, ow. Just hit me then. There's a tweet note here somewhere. Where'd he go? Didn't quite get him, but never mind. So if you're playing Titanfall at the moment, how are you getting on? What level have you got to? I've not actually got that too far on the PC as such. Got quite far on the Xbox before I got really fed up with it and traded it in. Because to be honest with you, it was just such a flawed game. But on PC, it's, well, truly a marvel of game development, if you ask me. But it just goes to show, you know, the system doesn't make the game makes the system. And unfortunately, if a game is badly optimised, or should I say is not capable of performing at 60 frames a second solid on the Xbox, then, well, it doesn't look too good for the Xbox, in my opinion, does it? But, you know, playing the game on PC, you get to really see how this game is supposed to play. You know, incredibly fast and fluid with beautiful graphics, great lighting model, everything just feels great. And you would hardly know this is actually the Source engine running underneath it all if it wasn't for a few interesting little Source-related shenanigans like the way the character modelling works. Right. Got to decide. Let's do this. Don't stand in the way of me, Titan. I think I must have helped someone out yesterday on the opposite side get his achievement for dropping a Titan on someone. I stupidly stayed in one place for longer than about 3 seconds and someone dropped a Titan on my head. I was like, thanks. One of the interesting things they've just added actually in the last patch is a new matchmaking mode, and unfortunately not very many people are actually seemingly using that this morning, so I had to use traditional matchmaking, as it were. I think the matchmaking system is alright in my opinion. I don't think it needs too many improvements, but anything that's matching more on skill rather than just random location, what location is nearest to you, is probably a good plan. Need to get out of here. Bail. Evacuate. Dang. So just whilst the next level's loading, just going to have a quick flick around, send a few tweets and the like. Like I say, if you are watching the live stream, hello, welcome, and do drop us a comment. I love hearing from you, guys. God, you can tell I'm half asleep this morning. The clock's changed today, so in the UK, unfortunately, we have this crazy thing where for half the year we're on one time zone, and on another half the year we're on a slightly different time zone with an hour difference, what we call GMT, GMT plus 1. And originally that was done, if you don't know, because of farmers who were up north and in Scotland. We give them extra daylight to be able to bring in the crops. In this day and age it's utterly stupid, but we still do it because we're British. They have attempted over the years to get rid of it, but for one reason or another someone always complains. Apparently kids will get knocked down. That's why we have high-vis jackets and all sorts of other technology these days to kind of alleviate those problems, but hey-ho. Apparently we would rather keep moving the clocks every 6 months for fun. Doesn't actually have any purpose whatsoever in the modern age, but we still do it. A bit like buying iPhones, really. Right, let's get some burn cards. What we got? Oh yes, supercharger. Nothing new for my loadouts. Like I say, do let me know in the comments if you're having any problems with the audio stream at all, if you can't hear me, or if anything happens to not be working properly. We're just waiting for this next map to load up at the moment, and then we'll kick it off. Like I say, do let me know in the comments if you're having any problems with the stream, if you can't hear me properly, if you can't hear the game audio properly. Leave me a comment anyway, just to say hi. I can see there's 5 people on the live stream at the moment. 5 people that can say hi to me. Say hi. It doesn't cost you anything on YouTube, luckily. So, playing this on PC, and interestingly, after the last Titanfall patch, I think the graphics improved quite dramatically actually, but what I can't quite pinpoint is whether it was related to the patch or whether it was related to AMD, ATI, their game center system now having specific settings to help the graphics card tune itself perfectly for the game. But I would say that before I was occasionally getting like a 1 frame a second drop at times. That's now disappeared completely and it just stays at a nice stable 60 frames a second. Obviously, when we're dealing with live streaming, things go a little bit stranger, and you're seeing a 30 frames a second stream, and I'm kind of taking a little bit of a frame rate hit here, but only by a couple of frames a second, not by too much. But it might, you're on my side, it might be seen as a small amount of stutter on the live stream. Hopefully this time, after last week we had quite a few problems with XSplit. Unfortunately it was causing quite a lot of stutter on YouTube, so we're using Wirecast today, Wirecast 5, which also happens to have a direct show option which will allow you to grab all of the frame buffer information from the graphics card and just stream it straight to the web. Now hopefully that is going to be considerably better and smoother for you all than we were getting from XSplit. But do let me know in the comments if the stream's coming through a little stuttery or anything. I can always make some tweaks to the bitrate and we might be able to improve that. We are streaming at 1080p, just because why not. Personally, I don't think 720p cuts it anymore for the majority of situations, and I'm not really killing anyone here, I'm just kind of running around. Let's just go and deal with this thing. Unless I get shot in the back. I kind of like the idea of the turrets. I just wish there was kind of more things to do on the maps that were, you know, useful by the ice pick. It kind of strikes me that Titanfall's always kind of like a half-finished game in many respects. There's a lot more they're kind of going to be able to do with this in Titanfall 2, and I personally can't wait because, you know, if they manage to keep bringing the fun like this, then this is going to be a fantastic game series. It really is. But, you know, I think they really need to kind of either do a single-player campaign with it, a proper single-player campaign, let's have an actual story we care about, or just don't bother with any kind of single-player-y stuff. You know, no story at all, just forget it. Because it's so badly done in this at the moment. I don't want that. It's so badly done at the moment, the multiplayer campaign, those story elements, that you could have kind of just take it or leave it. Don't bother even wasting your money on the voice acting, it was that bad. In my opinion, you'd be much, much better off just throwing it all directly at the actual game, gameplay and game engine, you know. Which seems to be what their original plan was until Microsoft got involved anyway. As I said last week, I really do think that this was going to be a free-to-play title from EA. You know, probably one of the most groundbreaking free-to-play titles. Money comes in, and of course then, well, you've got a few other options, haven't you? You can go for that full-priced 40-odd quid on Xbox One, and, you know, Christ, I think Game were actually trying to sell the PC game for £42. Go figure that one out. You can obviously pick this up on CD key sites for around 27 to 30 quid, depending on where you get it from and if you pick up a voucher code and what have you. So, you know, for my mind, this isn't a game that's worth, you know, 40 quid. It is very much worth around the 25 to 30 pound mark. Feels pretty good really for this title. Great, 2 against 1. This is going to go well. Have some missiles. Dang. My favourite gun in the game, the mag launcher by far. It just does a ridiculous amount of damage to Titans, and obviously you can bounce things off walls. Who doesn't like bouncing grenades? Certainly I think it's the most versatile of the Titan guns compared to things like the arc launcher, which I just hate. I just think it's so slow and clunky. Not even worth bothering with most of the time. It does a ridiculous amount of damage to shields, but you spend so long trying to charge it that you might get one hit in and then you're dead. Nothing more doing, really. Now, if you want to, you can send me a message on Google+. You can use plus.androidizen. And more importantly, it means I don't have to switch windows to see your message. It'll just pop up on my HTC One M8. Yes, HTC One M8. And what just happened to my... Weird. Just threw out some satchel charges there and didn't get to blow them up. Disappointing. I do like a good explosion. Come on, walk forward a bit more. Yeehaw! For my mind, the AI is still completely, utterly useless. Serves no particular purpose whatsoever other than to kind of stop particular segments from dragging. You know, it does keep the action up, but at the end of the day, they pose zero challenge whatsoever unless you're really unlucky. And, well, I can just think to myself, I'd rather the system spending time rendering some extra players on screen than a load of AI. It just never really made sense to me what they were saying there. I think a lot of it has a lot more to do with the abilities of the Xbox One, because ultimately, if you were to build this game with bigger maps, then you put more players on it and it would still be fun. What we have really with Titanfall is a series of compromises, as I said last week, that to my mind just means that, you know, this game could have been a lot more expansive and still maintained the kind of fun, which is ultimately the reason they gave for not... ultimately the reason they gave for not going more than 6x6 players. it's a thin excuse and it doesn't stack up in modern games. Simple as that. You know, Battlefield can have big maps, still make it fun. These maps could have been doubled in size and doubled the player count. Ultimately, it comes down to a couple of things. Resources on the target platforms. They were then asked to target Xbox 360, Xbox One. Those are ultimately compromised systems away from where they were originally aiming, which was just going to be PC, where pretty much you can just take the restraints off and go for it. And you then have a timeline to delivery. What we don't really know is what the original timeline to deliver this game was, whether it was intended to launch at exactly this point, or when it was originally targeted for PC, they were actually going to go a slightly different way and take a bit longer. You know, maybe it was going to be launched Christmas time this year. Overall, I think this game had a 2-year development cycle, which is actually pretty short, you know, for a game that was starting absolutely from scratch. And it just makes me think, well, series of compromises led us to get 6v6 because a bit smaller maps, less time to build them, the target platform you're going for, and, well, you're now having to go for, and so on. These are the kind of things that ultimately mean that, you know, the game you may have originally wanted to make, you're no longer making. And you're going to have to start doing things like claiming that the game is more fun with only 6v6 players on your particularly small maps. Well, duh, of course. Make the maps bigger, put more players on it, just as fun, same map space. More hectic, more strain on the system's resources, and ultimately less people buying your game, most likely. But ultimately, it's what I want to see from Titanfall. This is a game that is about big and expansive, and that can be more than accommodated, I think, on Titanfall 2. They certainly can move to an 8v8 without any trouble, I would have thought. Slightly bigger maps if they need to, and hopefully by then the Xbox One will have had a lot of its issues and bugs ironed out. And, you know, ultimately the Xbox 360 should kind of just been dropped from the targeting, you know. They shouldn't have even bothered with it. The only reason they bothered is money. Simple as that. Because, you know, a game like this, as a next-gen title, with everything it's got going on, do you really want this on, you know, an Xbox 360? It hardly makes sense, does it really? And ultimately, that's why the guys at Ubisoft have decided the next Assassin's Creed games will be split into 2 segments. You're going to have a next-gen game, which is built and targeted specifically for next-gen in every way. And then you're going to have, you know, a game that's designed for, well, the previous titles in the series. The previous consoles in the series. So, you know, Xbox 360, PS3, probably Wii U as well. And that makes absolute sense because ultimately you are targeting 2 completely different ecosystems. The previous generation systems were completely customized in the sense of PowerPC chips or cell processors and the GPU packages that were going alongside those. And in the new generation, we are much, much, much closer to PCs. Now, sure, there are significant differences in the way that both consoles operate at the hardware level, but when you look at the development tools, we're dealing with PC. Simple as that, really. And then, you know, you're making the per system optimizations on top of that. But it just doesn't make sense to waste, ultimately, resources on a pipeline that is really foreign and alien to how the consoles work today in this next generation. And ultimately, that should mean that we can get Titanfall going not only 60 frames a second stable on Xbox One, but also start cranking up the size of the maps and the player count as well. And that's really where this game will become incredibly fun. It's fun at the moment, but currently the AI is kind of most of your engagement, certainly through that first half of first few minutes of the game. And that kind of leads to a bit of a situation where, for my mind, the first 2 minutes of the game are not really about killing other pilots necessarily, but just trying to get into position so you can waste as many AI as you possibly can as quickly as you can. We've seen this kind of gameplay happen in the past in other games, and the kind of racing during that first little period, it kind of causes an imbalance in its own right. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of shakes out over time. My personal feeling is that we do need more players, and they need to kind of drop the AI back a bit, and, you know, just give us a game that's more about the multiplayer aspect than it is about killing grunts. But anyway. 8 viewers. Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to Titanfall on Sunday, otherwise known as I've been working far too hard this week and I need to chill out and blow up some things with Titans. Do let me know in the comments if you have any questions, thoughts, or if there's any problems with the live stream at all. We're generally just rocking out here, playing some attrition. This is not using the new matchmaking mode because for some reason there's no one else on that this morning. It was quite nice and busy last night, but this morning everyone just seems to be in the old school matchmaking system, so that's where I am. Hopefully this is not going to be a completely unbalanced match where we're missing 2 people. That would suck. A lot. Anyway, what extra tightly stuff did I get? I got a new... Yeah, great. More loadouts I never use. You've only got 3 Titans in the flipping game. Why do you need 5 loadouts? When everyone only ever uses one Titan anyway. But anyway, I don't think I've found a situation yet where I've thought to myself mid-match, oh, I better go and change my loadout. Yeah, and that's the same thing I always thought with COD and Battlefield as well. They give you all these loadouts and you never use them. You know, very rarely anyway. Maybe just to switch to a sniper, but you know, there's no snipers in this game particularly. It's, you know, crummy sort of sniper rifle. By the way, I don't like sniping in Titanfall. I find it really janky. It's just not smooth, but I suppose at least it's better than COD, where, you know, sniping in COD, just pointless, wasn't it really? At least in this, you know, you've got those real high points you can go for, and it does make a bit of sense, but you very rarely see anybody bothering with the sniper rifles in Titanfall from what I can tell. I think I can count on one hand the number of times I've been killed by a sniper. Which either shows how bad snipers are, or shows that nobody's bothering with it. Difficult to tell, really. Plus, I have a general aversion to dirty snipers. Camping. Mind you, if you go back to games like Quake Enemy Territory, I think it was, otherwise known as like, yeah, it was Enemy Territory, and then there was Quake Wars. Was it Quake Enemy Territory, Quake Wars? I can never remember. Anyway, that one had absolutely phenomenal sniping, I always thought. Oh, that was just cheeky. Ugh. Cheeky, cheeky, cheeky. Right. Let's try and see if we can avoid that happening again, eh? It's just embarrassing. Oh, crossfire. So I don't think there's any armour perk in this game, is there? That would be quite useful. I think there's something for explosives, but it would be quite useful to have an armour perk of some sort. Perks. Oh dear, I'm talking all coddish, aren't I? Oh, go away. Grr. This map can either be absolutely awesome or a real pain in the bum. I think it just depends on how gnarly your opponents generally are being. But anyway, oh, I don't really want to go up this corridor again. Right. Kind of wanted to get up here. He was going to get shot in the back. Never stay around in one place for too long. Not killing grunts anyway, because someone will just shoot you in the back. And I suppose that is the only positive thing about the AI. At least it's a distraction that can sometimes work in your favour if you happen to come across an enemy player who's just being a bit dumb. Right, easiest way to deal with them. Boom. Oh, come on. Should have died. Ow, get off, get off, get off. Shields are gnarly. Ah. Oh, I'm not actually doing very well today because our clocks in the UK changed, which means we've lost an hour in bed, which means I woke up and it was already time to get up. Never fun. So I just thought, well, you know, if I'm having to suffer, then you can all get up and watch some Titanfall at stupid o'clock in the morning because we all lost an hour. If you're in the UK anyway. If you're not in the UK, you won't have a first clue what I'm talking about. Oh, come on, stay put, stay put. Drop that Titan on your head. Don't get that lucky. Found more and more actually, increasingly people aren't really using the Titans necessarily as their kind of primary weapon, as it were. They tend to put them on auto, and you kind of use your Titan as a support, obviously to draw fire, where you can kind of just pound away on with a mag launcher on the actual Titans, the enemy Titans. It's a pretty good tactic actually, and it works pretty well because you can then, if you need to, just jump into your Titan to finish them off. Okay, he's angry. Oh. Do let me know in the comments if there's any problems with the live stream, the feed, if anything's stuttering at all, if you can't hear me or the game audio properly, and do leave me a comment, and do hit that like button. That like button is all important on YouTube. It lets people know that, well, you like something, and then they get to check it out as well. So just giving that like button a quick tap does make a huge difference, helps the channel grow, helps more people discover our great content. Speaking of great content, we've just about probably 2/3 of the way through tearing down the HTC One M8, taking a look at HTC's latest flagship phone. You'll find all of that content on the channel. There's around 30 videos now we've done over the last 3 days, massive range of different content, and there'll be more coming up tomorrow, including a look at how to kind of get the EQ at least partially working on the HTC One M8, because there isn't one. There is no built-in EQ on that phone, and luckily, thanks to I think his name was Sean Austin yesterday, on the comments for one of the videos, he pointed out that you could use Power Amp, which actually interfaces with the Boom Sound Audio DSP, and you can actually recover your EQ a little bit, which is good because I was finding the audio quality to be quite thin. Still good, you know, loud, really loud, but it was losing a lot of the bottom end of the actual audio, which for my mind was just ugly. It made the audio sound just so thin. Sure, you don't expect like incredible bass or anything, but you would certainly, in my opinion, expect to see marginally better separation in the low end, certainly within hard house music and other dance stuff, an area where a lot of people listen to that, and you would think it would be in part of HTC's target demographic, but the audio quality is not sounding so good for certain types of music on the M8 at the moment. But anyway, all of that is up on the channel. You will also find all our live shows, which we do every so often, really, when there's something worth live broadcasting, really. Or just when I feel like chilling out, playing some games, and just having a bit of a rest because I've been woken up stupidly early this morning. Got ya. Do please let me know in the comments if there's anything in Titanfall that you'd like me to talk about, anything you'd like me to show you, any of that stuff. Although I'd have thought by now everyone pretty much knows everything there is to know about Titanfall. Die, Spectre, die. Gotcha. Satchel charges are by far the most epic and uber thing in this game, by a long shot. Go away. Do so much damage, and they're just great fun. I think the satchel charges, well placed satchel charge, really brightens the day. Stompy, stompy Titan. Stay away from me, you big nuclear exploding dude. Oh, I do love that rocket. Did we get him? No, someone just did that. Oh, ow. Yeehaw. Right, where are they evacuating to? I knew it. Yeah, another interesting way to get enemy pilots off your Titan. Jump out and throw some C4 on your Titan and blow it up. Simple as that. Quick, dirty, gets the job done. And if timed just right, you'll take out some ground forces as well. Or even a couple of pilots simultaneously. Always handy. cheeky. Really cheeky. He made it through. Gotta like that, haven't you? So I'm just quickly sending a few tweets. If you're listening to the stream, do feel free to share the stream with your friends. Do hit those like buttons, do drop us a comment as well, it all helps. Right, let's have a look what we got to work with now. Need to sort the burn cards out. Burn card, great invention, I think. Double agent card, also very useful in the very first moments of the game. Useful if you want to be able to sneak around and just wipe out enemy. Cool, my chain gun. I do like the accelerator. I do wish they would reduce the time in lobbies though, because it's on like 75 seconds. It's just hideous. 15 seconds presumably to make sure everyone can load back to the lobby. There's 60 seconds of sitting around waiting. I don't add up how many hours I lose over the space of a couple of hours, or a couple of days playing Titanfall. Craziness, but anyway. Cool, Angel City, one of my favourite maps. Personally, I think it's probably the best map they've got. But a lot, of course, depends. They released this during the for the beta, and I think we're able to polish it up a fair bit between the beta release and the final release. It certainly feels like it. It feels the most well polished of all the maps, and the most well thought out as well. Everything is just sort of well contained enough. That you can jump between all the buildings and you can make a full use, really, I think, of the skills that the game gives you, or the abilities the game gives you with verticality. In some of the other maps, I think buildings are sort of just too far away to be all that useful for pilots, almost like they were designed for a completely different type of game, or a game maybe where you had quite a bit more range from your jump pack. That is how we do it. See that lovely little wall stick there? One of my favourite little tricks. You can just sort of come into a room and just stick higher up on the wall. Most of the time they'll end up shooting at your legs rather than at you. So it just gives you, extra second or so off, fraction of a second, while they have to lock back on. Where did he go? Oh, he's there. If it moves, car SMG. Ah, oh, hit from above. Let's go double agent. Bit of lag there. So hopefully you're enjoying this look at Titanfall this morning over your cornflakes or your cup of coffee. So do let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to discuss, really. Or, well, just want to leave me a comment. All good. Should have waited for a couple of seconds to grab my Titan in and just landed it, I think. But never mind. Oh, we're getting mullered. That's the phrase I would use. Got him! Oh, so close. Dee-dee-dee. Stompy stompy. So if you're playing Titanfall, have you given your Titan a name? Mine's called Dave, because I call everything Dave. Even my wife gets called Dave when I've had a bit too much to drink. But anyway, I'm joking, obviously. It's always good fun to give your Titan a bit of personality, and that's one of the interesting things I thought that was missing from Titanfall, is any ability to customise your Titan in anything that I would describe as a meaningful way. Sure, you know, changing your guns and so on, well, we could do that in COD, that's standard stuff. You know, I just want to see a bit more customization in shooters. It would be really nice. You know, and ultimately, if you want to be, you know, bright yellow or something running around a battlefield, not being very well camouflaged, etc., that should be entirely up to you. It would just be really nice to see a few more customization options with Titanfall, and with shooters in general, certainly the multiplayer ones, rather than this kind of cookie cutter, oh, you're a pilot, oh look, you know, everyone's using one of the same kind of skins, great. It just, I don't know, it's not next gen, is it? Next gen is meant to all be about player choice, seems to be this time round, and you know, a lot of the shooters aren't really giving us the choice of what we want to look like, at least not to a sort of more finite degree anyway. Like I say, the whole cookie cutter approach, it's cheap, it's quick, it's easy, but it doesn't really give you that immersion into the game that makes you feel like you actually are a somebody, not just, you know, random dude with a skin. But anyway, I'm just rambling now. Oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. Alright. So another thing that I found actually quite irritating with Titanfall, to a certain extent, is the speed at which you level. I know they tweaked it a little bit in the last patch, but even so, the whole speed that you level up is kind of disconcerting in some respects for a game that's, you know, supposed to have a fair amount of life in it. Bye bye. Oh, lovely. Do 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 do. Oh. Ooh, don't even know what killed me then. Someone with a grenade by the looks of it. Was it? Yeah, it was. Grenade. Nasty. Right guys, we're going to leave it there. I need to go and do some real life stuff, but hopefully you've enjoyed this little play along with Androidizen as we play a little bit of Titanfall. We'll be back in due course. Look out tomorrow for another series of HTC One M8 videos, and we'll be starting to dig through a load of Android games that have been sat in my review queue for far too long, I think. So we'll be taking a look at some of those later on in the week as well. Like I say, do like, subscribe and comment on this video, and yeah, hopefully you have a really great Sunday and the sudden change in time zone hasn't caught you out too much, unlike me.